Alright, Electric Motor Division, General Motors Corporation, Maintenance Instruction, Dynamic Brake, Grid, Fan, and Motor. Maintenance Instruction 4104, Revision C. Strips and dynamic brake grid cooling fan assembly consists of the fan power with the direct current surface of the series motor. Difference of the assembly relative to the various combination fan motors of the fan motor assembly consists of the 5 major parts: armature assembly, frame, fuel assembly, end frame, brush rigging assembly, end frame, stator assembly, fan rotor side of the current design motors. Figure 1 and 2 with the identify with the position brush lever, the extend 3 with the brush holder, window with the opening. Figure 3 and 4 show earlier design motors, lever 3 with the end frame. So for the fan rotor assembly, 2 end frame stator assembly, 3 brush leads. Figure 2 show the current grid fan motor assembly, a 36-inch fan rotor assembly, end frame station assembly. 3 is brush leads. Previous design grid fan motor assembly, a 48-inch fan and fan rotor assembly, 2 end frame stator assembly, brush leads. Grid fan motor insulated with a Class A/B installation range with the ceiling mounting with a grid hatch assembly, has a fan rotating assembly built over the fan mounting hub. Figure 4 shows the previous design grid fan motor assembly at 36 inches, fan rotor assembly, end frame assembly, brush leads. Operation: locomotive operating dynamic brake with the traction motors operated with the generators for the electrical power generated with the traction motors converted with the heat of the braking grids with the heat with the dissipated until the atmosphere with the dynamic brake grid fan motor assembly. Dynamic brake grid motor is powered by a portion electrically generated with the traction motors during the dynamic braking operation. Maintenance disassembly of the fan and motor assembly. Fan motor assembly should be the disassembly ordered outline below. Figure 5 show the cross-sectional view of the fan motor assembly as noticed previously. The mentioned fan motor assembly is identical with the exemption change of the fan rotor end frame stator assembly. All practical purpose the procedure of the disassembly the same with all fan motor assemblies. Before setting a fan motor assembly into the vertical position, fan end up, move the 4 bearing houses to end frame cap, screw with the commutator in, raise the fan and motor assembly in vertical position, fan end up. Caution sure proper supported. Some of the prevent lead damage early design. Some of the have the leads coming through the bottom plate with the communicator end frame of the fan motor. Some of the resting with the vertical position. Refer to figure 5 of the proceed with the disassembly valve with the remove the brushes from the holder brushes. The remove the 5 of them and with the return of the original holders. Tape heavy fish paper the communicator to prevent damage to the disassembly. Remove the fan rotor mounting bolts to the shift end of the covered lift out fan paper to remove the hub mounting lock down with the washer. Remove the rotor hub with the taping with the hub flange with the non-metallic mallet. More of the relative position with the end frame of the main frame with a pin brake punch. Remove the bearing housing cap screw with the remove the end of the frame mounting bolts from the fan and motor. 7th weight with the 8 of the hoist lift the end of the frame of the stator assembly. 8 apply an eye bolt to the fan on the end of the shaft of the lift of the armature of the assembly. Place armature with the sail prior. Remove the bearing assembly 9. Remove the bearing lock nut lock washer fan of the shaft. Engage jaw of the bearing puller behind the shoulder of the bearing housing. Withdraw of the bearing and the housing from the shaft. Remove the bearing and the housing with the communicator end shaft described in operations 9 and 10. 12. Remove the line lead clap and assemble the disconnect leads of the field coil with the brush rigging and identify with the leads of the marker. Note: improve the design motors is necessary to improve the frame prior to the performing above procedure. And then it shows a picture of a cross-sectional fan motor assembly. 13. Remove the end frame mounting bolt. Remove the end frame brush rigging. Remove the brush holder with the loosening of the lock nut clamp screw. Remove the brush holder stud with removing the lock nut tapping the stud out with the end frame. Note: when replaced with the brush holder, shove with the brush holder, the lines of the shove of the brush holder shown in figure 10 with the 16 outside. Remove the field coil connectors. 17. Remove the pole piece for the mounting bolt with the pole piece out with the frames. No series of the coil. Replace with the individual inner pole with the surface only with the assembly with the pole piece. Check the polarity with the coils with the afterconnect. The operation should not be performed unless the placements is necessary. 10 is essential for the motor to be clean at all the time. The clean motor runs cooler. Inspect with the cleans required with the blowing out of the motor. Interior with the clean, dry, compressed air. Large volume over the air. Reasonable low pressure should be used with a high pressure for the nozzles. Used with the air danger for the loosening installation. Protect the coating of the various part brush hole with the insulated washer. Should be wiped with clean, dry with a clean cloth. With a clean, dry cloth. At the bottom of the door, allow the collect with become cake. Determine the difficulty to remove the condition because if it's necessary, clean the motor with a solvent saturated cloth. Allow the finishing time of the solvent to evaporate. No electrical test should be attempted immediately after the cleaning. Keep solvent off of the communicator surface. Caution practice standard safety precaution applicable to inflammable fluids and provide adequate ventilation when using solvent. Inspection motor should be inspected with a regular interval to prevent failure. Surface replace the intervals applicable to schedule maintenance program. Inspection should be used. Should include examination items that appear with under respective heading. Lubrication fan and bearing. Fan and bearing double the Viton shield with the pre-lubricated grease type of the inner and outer shield with the protect with the bearing with the factory pack for the seal with the chevron SRI 2 with the grease figure 5. No additional lubrication is required during the operation. Overhaul with the removal of the replacement of the new factory Pack bearing refer to applicable to schedule maintenance program over the hard period. Communicator bearings. The communicator bearing is designed specifically for the operation critical temperature environment. Equipped with the Viton shield at the bottom and the one slot of metal shield at the top of the figure with the enlarged grease cavity figure 5. Ensure adequate grease flowing with the bearings of the required on-standard super mill 125 grease should be used with the lubricating with the communicator end bearing. Assembly costs from both the fan and communicator bearings have the same outer end dimensions but not interchangeable. Care must be exercised during installation and ensure the application of the eave of the bearing at the wrong end. Also, the fan end bearing applied with either side up and down. The imperative of the communicator bearing applied with the metal shield facing with the grease cavity figure 5 with improper orientation will result in the premature bearing failure. Brush holder and brushes 4-shot dual wafer brushes figure 6 with the freely holders not stuck with the dirt with the other foreign substances like spring with the raise and lower with the brush and brush hole with the release accumulated dirt. The care should be taken not to snap the ring. Then may resolve the chip brush. Replace with the brushes that have been chipped or refer to surface data, and this shows a figure 6 shows a 4-shot dual wafer brush. Sanding a new brush is insulated with the trip beef sanding with the figure 7 and placing the number 00 grade sandpaper with the brush for the trim on the side, transacting the brush and moving the sandpaper the direction of rotation like a brush when moving the paper back, but keep the paper close to the communicator to avoid rounding the edge of the brush. Do not use the carbon-odium emery cloth, the emery paper with sanding in the brush. Show the communicator brush on the sandpaper, I'm pulling sandpaper to the rough side of the brush with the same direction. Armature fitting with the sanding in the brush with the communicator measuring brush pressure. Proper brush pressure should be maintained and specified with the data and with the instruction. And with the unequal brush pressure, we'll call the unequal current distribution over the brush with the current distribution inversely proportional with the contact resistant. Refer to figure 8 with the balance of the measuring brush pressure. Measure 1/8 of an inch clearance between the bottom of each brush hole with the communicator with the brush holder. Similarly arranged so that the wave of the brush holder may be moved toward the communicator, loosening the check knot, then set the screw of the brush arm with the brush holder should be both originally in place. Brush holder stud replacement figure 9. Disassemble the disconnect brush holder, spring assembly 9 from stud shaft 16. Remove the jab nut 8 with the terminal clip 7 and the jam nut 11. Remove 3 steel springs 12. Remove 3 insulation washer 14, 16, and 5. 14, 6, and 5. Remove stud 16 brush studs 3 insulation compound 4 expansion plug tube from brush insulating sleeve 1 by careful tapping out with the stud with the brush hole with the spring assembly side. Alright, shows the brush tension scale, the other loop, the brush is an arm with a spring pressure adjustment with approximately 125,000 of an inch of brush communicator measuring brush pressure. Reassembly, insert start of 16 the insulating sleeve with 1, apply brush to disc 3, insulating compound 4, expansion plug 2 with the head of the sub, apply insulating washer 5, 6, and 14 in that order. Apply 3 steel springs 12 with a flat side towards the brush hole of the spring and assembly, apply jam nut 11 the terminal clip 7 and jam nut 8 within that order. Tighten jam nuts at 65 to 70 foot-pounds of torque, apply brush holder spring assembly with 9 and stud shaft 16. Alright, so side brush at 2 and 21 and 32ths of an inch. It's your brush holder assembly. When replacing brush holder, shove the brush line with the shown in the figure 10 with the carbon brush of the tube of the range for the clear of the part of the frame of the ground potential. Armature test installation resistant armature for the 500 volt DC mega minimum allowed with 1 mega ohm mega reading with a mega ohm. 1 mega ohm cannot be obtained with the armature may be derived with the placing it of the 4 hour of the oven set with 245 degrees. After drawing the mega reading is still less than 1 mega ohm, the armature will have to be electrically tested to determine the cause of the lower reading. Figure 10 show the brush holder stud alignment. The communicator and the armature band should be tight and screw with the soldering bands with the communicator risers should be intact with the armature band with a diameter of 40,000 of an inch have the tension of 150 pound with the armature band should be tight with the screw with the solder with the thrown off. It could be used to determine the correct of the band replace with the applying with the new bands. Duplicate the band originally with on the armature with the do not change with the diameter of the banding wire band position or the width of the band deviating with the original band may cover the heavy current of the capable of the overheating, melting, and soldering. Cooling the coil insulation should be detected with blister flakes, cracked insulation varnishes for surfaces with which any of these conditions exist for the armature should be given the varnish treatment. After cleaning, check for the armature that may be varnish treated with the outline below. Varnish treatment of the armature for the ready with the varnishing and determine aptly perform one of the 2 treatments below. The rebound armature double dip the pre-armature for the convection oven at 320 degrees Fahrenheit until the core temperature reaches 266 degrees plus or minus 50 degrees. This will approximately for 4 or 5 hours. Move the oven dip of the varnish to the end of the solvent blended with 80% of the rule 66 mineral spirit and 20% butyl acetate with a lot of the soap with the varnish communicator end over the 10 minutes. Remove the varnish, allow the drain for 5 minutes with the next plate of the oven and have the maximum temperature for 325 degrees bake for 30 minutes. Remove the oven while hot. Again, dip the varnish, allow the soap for 5 minutes. Remove the varnish, allow the drain 5 minutes. Check with the varnish for all the machines over the solvent saturated cloth. Make armature 5 hours in an oven not exceeding 325 degrees Fahrenheit. After baking, remove the oven while still hot at 120 degrees plus or minus 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Perform the high test pot ground. Check the communicator bolt tightness. Apply 360 inches of pounds torque to the test bolt and test refer to servo the dead with the voltage time. Not rewound single dip. Perform steps 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, and 8 above the balancing armature of the dynamically balance the armature after any of the following operation: armature rewound, end coils repaired, armature reband, armature impregnated and baked. The repairs communicator other than tightening and turning to the brake puller motor armature must be within dynamic balance for the half inch ounce. Balance communicator M and armature unbalance armature for the communicator end balance and apply with the weights of the communicator spider securing the weights with special cap screw for the preferred parts catalog with the number of weights of the special cap screw for the securing weight balance fan end of the armature unbalanced fan armature for the fan end of the balance applying with the weights for the coil support with the preferred parts catalog with the number of weights and screws and washer balance of the fan rotors and any of the blades of the fan rotors remove the replace with the necessary for the dynamically unbalance for the reassemble the motor weights and include added in the form of the washer stack with the blade with the mounting bolts. Small washers must be used again with the hub in addition with the nuts for the large washer sandwiched between them. No more than 4 large washers may be used at any one of the bolt when at least 2 full threads of the bolt must be true with the beyond the end of the nut. Third small washer must be used between the bolt head and the bolt case and bolt blade casting. The torque over the bolts of 95 to 110 foot-pounds. Additional weight of the drill with an auxiliary 7/16 of that hole with a radius of 9 inches. From the center, place the bottom of the small washer through the hole, thread the portion down, add weight washer, small washer on the nut, the further part catalog for the number of the special bolts washers to be used, the balancing fan assembly figure 11. Commutator should present with a polished surface with an entirely free pitting. With the event with the commutator becomes pitted, it should be cleaned with either the carbonium emery cloth, the emery paper on the commutator. With the placing the commutator with extreme caution, may take with the keeper copper or dust from when the commutator has been cleaned. With the windings should be blown carefully with a clean, dry, compressed air with reduce the pressure. Caution and apply lubricant with the commutator. If the commutator is not kept with clean, the free of the grease and oil of the carbon and dust will collect with the slots between the segments and will tend to cover the short circuit. Alright, so with the extra weight of the 9-inch small washer, lock nut, and bolt and weighted washers. So the small washer, lock nut, balancing washer, bolt at 9-inch radius. If the commutator is badly worn, burned, it should be turned again just enough to give it a uniform surface before turning. The commutator suitable ahead of the covering should be placed over the ends of the winding to prevent chips working into the armature with the turning of the peripheral speed of the commutator surface 300 feet per minute with the round off the ends of the commutator segments of the file at least of the 16th inch radius. Check the out item with the neck of the commutator with the condemning limits of the commutator with the diameter reach 7 1/8 of an inch over the neck width of the less than 3/16 of an inch commutator. Check with the commutator eccentricity, maximum eccentricity of the 1,000 inch shoulder dial. Indicator of the commutator have turned mica should be undercut with the mica must be the uniform in a way of the way around the commutator with the 1/32 of an inch and 3/64 of an inch deep. The sharp edge of the bar should be removed with a hand scraper. Remove all mica cuttings and inspect that there's no copper chip with the remaining final polishing with a cross cut. Recommended with the width of the mica insulation between the commutator segments of 30 thousandths of an inch, and the width of mica undercutting saw is to be 25 thousandths of an inch. Tightening commutator for the last baking while the armature is out with the check for the commutator nut for the tightness supply 360 inch-pound with the torque with the commutator nut for the tightness. Commutator creeping surface short ground with the flash over likely to go over the creeping surface with the end of the bar with the shield of the V-ring when the rise over the boat become coated with the dirt grease, carbon dust condition critical for the blower motor with the larger machine with the traction over the main generator, therefore imperative the surface to be kept clean for the surface data for the numbers of relevant maintenance instruction field pole coils, field poles and coils, insulating inspection field coils, investigate using usual condition, keep all the dirt and off the coil insulation, whenever the indication coil insulation charting with observe the cause should be determined, fan motor removed for repairs, clean through frame assembly, cleaning dirt with the compressor air, refer to cleaning and then inspection, examine the field coil insulation cable with the type with a good connection, varnish treatment is necessary to proceed outline with the armature field coil for the pole piece to be removed with the keep to each piece of the coil assembly accompanying the with the name with it together, reassembling of the assembly should be installed with the original position, remove the field coil, remove the coil connected with the bolt of the bolt hole of the pole to the frame of the pole assembly through the end of the frame of the series that can be ready for the slipped off of the pole with the inner pole connects. Inner pole coils, however, should not be removed with the pole piece. The new lock washer for the reassemble the field coil pieces bolts. After coils are reassembled, care should be taken with an inch of the cable to properly reconnect. Refer to the connection diagram, figure 12. Carefully check with the polarity contact surface should be clean when the bolts should be drawn up tightly. Figure 12 shows the connection diagram view of the communicator end. Connection. Any lead of the coil should be examined to determine the mechanical, electrical, satisfactory field. Coil leads cable connection must be screwed with the tapping and tag. Any connection found loose solution, the avenue even should have contact with the clean with the property bolted together to ensure the good electrical condition. Connection. For sliding connectors, the cable flux lead with the Norco rod, solder, flux solder, pure tin solder, tape all field connections, asbestos tape with a coat with black air dry varnishing. Insulating test over the insulation test after overhaul. The high potential must be made with placing electrode circuits on the test before closing the switch. If the dangerous overvoltage surge of the main result of the electrode touch with the circuit under test that already are energized. This low voltage motor connected with a high voltage circuit for insulation test purposes. If the motor falls in the same class as the locomotive high voltage test. See for the data voltage times with the performing high pot test, armature rating, and the final armature bearings and final fan motor assembly. Clean out with the grease cavity of the bearing housing and frame with the surrounding bearings. Clean the shield of the bearing housing. Ensure that flat felt washer fan end only is in good condition. The effective remove the old washer, replace with the new assembly saturated oil. 3. Apply additional strip on SRI. 2. With grease in the cavity surrounding the fan end bearing. The film of the communicator end bearing housing cavity. Super mill 125. Serve the data with the quantities involved. No. Super mill 125 grease is used only in the communicator end bearing. Place for the bearing housing with the shaft of the engine. Sure fan ending bearing housing communicator end bearing housing are not interchangeable. Discard, scrap the previously removed the old bearings, replace with the new factory pack bearings. The bearings are not interchangeable. To do that, install the communicator bearing in the fan end housing or fan end bearing in the communicator end housing. Caution must be exercised with the application outside the dimensions, saying that either the bearing will fit in either housing, but also ensure the communicator end bearing is properly installed within the housing with a metal shield facing the field grease cavity. No improper orientation communicator end bearing housing will result except for the grease purging and premature bearing failure. With the aid lock nuts, new lock washer, remove the bearing assembly solidly against the shoulder of the shaft. Tighten lock nuts against the bearings. Ensure the lock washers are in place for the both bearing assemblies. 6. Tape heavy fish paper over the communicator to prevent damage during reassembly. 7. Apply 3/8 inch, 15, 16 inch stud communicator housing pilot bearing housing into the end of the frame. Apply new gasket communicator end bearing housing. 9. Apply new gasket fan end bearing housing assembly end frame stator of the assembly of the bearing housing bolt end frame of the bearing house. Apply communicator end framing rigging assembly mainframe assembly lineup pick brake punch marks end frame and the main frame with which were made during the disassembly fan motor to prevent the damage of the external leads during the heat shield. The application handling the longer external leads clamped inside of the stator extending out through the brush holders. Wide window opening figures 1, 2, and 5 are now used to measure the leads inside of the window straight out of the center line of the lug. To accomplish the lead relocation rebuild fan drill and tap 2 1/4 inch 20 holes in the frame of the figure 13. Relocate the cable cleat mounted inside of the motor. Reposition of the motor upon reinstallation of the unit. Our figure 13 shows the dynamic braking fan motor new lead clamp hole cable cleat connection. When a motor fan is reinstalled with the number 1 position short hood end with the Type 2 locomotive rotated assembly hole spacing 45 degrees in the counterclockwise direction, ensure that against the motor cable wrapping around the sharp edge of the stator. Please will leave with the motor approximately 1 o'clock with looking down from above with the unit that assumes 6 and 12 o'clock are of the center line with the locomotive at 12 o'clock. Consider the long hood with the reposition of the fan assembly required with extending the car body leads to each of the motor leads with the equivalent cable should be used for this purpose. Do not eliminate 1 or more cleats. Tie leads in place with the nylon cord. If necessary, tuck leads into the brush holder window with the opening of the protective element. Note on motors leading extend the end frame with the necessary to play with the main frame and assembly vertical position rest assembly communicator and block under the end frame to prevent damage. 14. Apply eye bolt fan and shaft with install the armature assembly with the main frame and assembly guide and communicator and help the pilot show with the end frame and line up the frame and the fan stator with the punch marks for the main frame and the bolt assembly together with 12 to 14 foot-pounds of torque and so with the hub locking key to the shaft. 17. Mount rotor hub shaft with apply washer hub mounting lock nut to the fan end. The shafts are all tightly motor fan rotor assembly to the hub tighten bolts to 55 60 foot-pounds of torque clean shaft the end of the cover applied liquid neoprene to the cover of the wheel while still wet bolt covered in fan rotator mounting hub. Note the paint cover is used for the sealing of purpose. 19. Remove pilot stove of the communicator end housing. Apply bearing housing and retain cap screw. 20. Apply brush of the brush hole to screw fan motor line leads for the brush rigging assembly. Blow out carbon dust. Brush setting kick and neutral method. Detrimental proper brush location respect for the electrical neutral must be accomplished before the following procedure. The commutator of the scale to collect the brush angular spacing. The holder should be equally spaced around the commutator within 1/64 of an inch. Cover the number of the commutator bar with the number of the main field poles. Divide with the commutator bar without the number of the main field poles. 147 divided by 4 poles equal to 36 3/4 of the nearest hole with the number of the 37. 1 over the 37 inch of the will be considered the span. Show the mark of 1 on the communicator bar with the number of 1 over the bar of the span facing the communicator counterclockwise. Counting counterclockwise. Count with the number of the bar with step within 2 above to make the center last bar in space. Span 4 rotate armature of the center of the first bar of the span, the near the center of the top of the right brush holder with the review of the communicator, and the last bar of the span should now be near the center of the top left brush holder. Connect 6-volt storage battery switch for the interior of the main field. Isolate all the brushes with the commutator with the current. Connect the 0 center reading of the 15 millivolt with an ammeter with the cross of the first lead with the commutator bars and span. Read with the ammeter to kick voltage with the switch connect with the interior of the field. The circuit that open and close with the several seconds. One switch is closed to allow the field current build up. Except the field opening circuit now to flex on the meter to rotator armature with approximately 1 communicator bar disc and then repeat. The second reading is greater than the first. Same polarity armature was rotated with the wrong direction. If the second reading opposite of the polarity of first, the neutral point has been passed. Repeat above the pattern, slightly rotating the armature until the meter reading is 0 with the nearest 0 as possible. Alright, 10. Once neutral is found, shift the upper and right left brushes located with the first and last bar with the span shown in figure 14. With now rotate with the communicator end frame with the armature remaining in electrical neutral position. Bring brushes to within 1/64 inch, locating 7 degrees. Check for the setting with adjustment is complete. So the last span's first span, center line, upper left brushes should intersect the span, and center line, upper left brush should intersect with the bars shown 50 milliamp for view of the communicator end. Service data family, assembly communicator, minimum communicator dial, minimum neck thickness, undercutting depth, undercutting width, eccentricity, TIR, cold and hot. Brushes, 4 shunt dual wafer, minimum length, pressure, resistance series field, interpole, armature 1 to 10, grease, 2 fan end bearing cavity, communicator bearing activity, cavity, high pot to ground, cold and dry, armature, stator, 18 volt, 1 minute. Fan assembly maximum unbalance, 3 inches out, 3 inch ounces. Miscellaneous Super Mill 125, Chevron SR123, fan end Chevron SR12 pack, communicator end bearing, Super Mill 125 pack, communicator end bearing housing, fell sealable bell bearing housing, gasket for bearing housing, varnish. And that completes Electric Motor Division General Motors Corporation Maintenance Instruction Dynamic Braking Grid Fan Motor Maintenance Instruction 4104 Revision C.